the real world ends, and it is amazing.
Okay.
It is that smell from the air
Because
conditioning.
that's kind of a canned smell. So that's really interesting.
Yes, but I've never found it anywhere else.
Okay. No, I dig it. I totally dig it. Cynthia, how about you?
It's a quirky question, so my answer is going to be quirky. Um, the first scent that popped in my mind was hot plastic, and it reminds me of my childhood. So I had a
Okay.
Cabbage Patch Kid that I loved, and I carried her everywhere. And I left her in the car one day, and her face like was super soft because the plastic got hot. But there
Aw.
was just this scent, this hot plastic scent, kind of like hot jelly shoes. You remember jelly shoes? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's almost the same scent, but hot plastic reminds me of my childhood. So weird answer,
I mean, it is, as you
but
said,
it's an honest one.
it is quirky questions. So I dig it.
And now when you say that, I'm like, ooh, you know what reminds me of my childhood? But
Well, I don't know. So like sometimes I'll get a hint. Like say my grandma used to wear this powder. It was Oscar de la Renta. I cannot remember, but I can like picture the thing so clearly.
Mhm.
The container. And like I used to put that stuff all over me because I just loved the smell and I loved feeling like soft from the talcum and like all of that. And so every now and again, I'll just be going about my day and I'll catch a whiff and it's somebody's perfume or like, I'll go through a department store and be like, oh, there it is, it reminds me of being hugged by my grandma.
Mm,
She was this,
mhm.
like very lovely, but like a soft woman, and like her hugs would just envelop you and you would have this scent just kind of take over. And I loved feeling overwhelmed by her. And I loved that smell. And so like it's a really strong memory and it just comes unbidden in like the most random times, and I love that scent is such a strong memory keeper,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I asked that. All right. So thus far I'm only doing okay on questions.
That
But
was pretty quirky. I don't know.
okay, good. All right. So
and now I'm just like writing down all of the things that make me remember. I have like
Yeah.
5
yes.
on my list.
Oh, that is
So
awesome.
nice.
I love that you pick up. That is so cool. All right. So next quirky question. What would you be if you had to wear one Halloween costume every day for the rest of your life? Every day. Don't give me that look. You asked me
For
about
the rest of my
don't make
life.
that look. For the rest of
For
your
the
life.
rest of my life. Can I go as myself? Is that a costume? Can I be the Joy Sherpa for the rest of my life?
Oh, that's such a cheat. But all right. That is such a cheat. Oh,
Is
man.
it?
Well, can I go to the flip side of that? No.
I mean, all
Yes.
right. So at the very least, you're gonna have to carry. Like, I'm trying to think of like what a Sherpa would have. So you have to like wear a giant backpack or something, like, or some kind of climbing
And a staff.
apparatus.
I mean, that
Yeah,
checks out.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I'll allow it, but you have to do something that's
Have
not.
to accessorize it.
Yeah, like it's got to be a costume, not just what did Cynthia feel like wearing today. Yeah, that's not in keeping with the spirit of the question, y'all.
I'm a middle-aged tired woman.
All right.
No. Or like that episode of Friends where they're like, Barry is a dentist, he went as an orthodontist. Like, come on, be better.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna give a pass on that one. I'm not happy about it. All right. Here's our third and final quirky question.
Mhm.
How would you spend $1 billion?
$1 billion.
$1 billion. So like incomprehensible money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cashola.
It is. There's a lot of good that you could do with $1 billion. Like I
Yes.
just think of all of the organizations I would help. It would probably go there first.
Well, so like I know that you would go to all right. All right. I'm gonna reframe the question.
Okay.
So if somebody gave me $1 billion,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be really, really honest with you guys. I'm going to keep a couple million for myself, like pay off the
Yeah.
house, buy the new car, like do all of it, like invest, get ready, maybe be able to retire someday. And I do kind of feel bad about that, but like I would keep a little bit. I would absolutely give most of it away. So would you keep any for yourself, Cynthia?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying
Okay,
I would go there first, but
sure.
you're talking about retiring someday. I'm talking about retiring
Like
today.
right this very second.
Yes.
Beachside in a cabana with a little umbrella in your drink. Like that's
Or on a mountain somewhere. Like, just
yeah.
where do I feel like going today?
Yeah. Okay.
What town do I feel like helping today? Right? It's that kind of.
Wherever the altruism takes you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not the wind. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Crystal, how about you?
My first thought was I started singing the Bare Naked Ladies song. If I had $1 million,
Okay.
and was like trying to think of all the things that they did with it.
I know. If I had $1 million,
I would definitely like just go and do things with it. Like,
yeah,
go to the grocery store and buy the 10 people behind me's groceries.
Oh, you'd be one of the like the Starbucks pay. What's it? The Starbucks pay it forward.
Pay it forward.
You'd be one of those, but like meaningfully so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just like I was once told by a mentor that she would tide where her heart was filled.
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily at church or, through religion, but she would like go out with friends and buy the first couple rounds of drinks because her heart was filled there. Or so not random acts of kindness, but intentional.
Yeah. Well, and so like in my head, I'm like calling them sprinklings because like, you can make like the big ass donations and that has meaning. And please do that if you have the resources. The rising tide lifts all boats.
Right.
I'm not discouraging that, but like it's really fun to see like the little sprinklings of kindness. Like this is a random act that I would love to do for someone just in this moment. And it doesn't take planning and it's spontaneous. And that's really cool. Although I will say, so Aaron and I, we were at Dewey's Pizza last year sometime, and we went, and so somebody had passed away and he loved Dewey's Pizza, and so they had given out that his family had given out all of these cards that said pay it forward, pay for someone else's dinner kind of deal. And it was so sweet. But we actually we paid for the person in front of us and the person behind us paid for us. We actually ended up spending less money on the other person's meal than we would have on ours. And so we felt really guilty about that. So we actually went to Redbox later that night, put a $5 bill and said snacks on us in one of the Redbox movies. Cause we were like, this doesn't like karmically, this feels out of balance. We ended up better than we would have been. So there's always that chance there. So it looks like we have Jennifer Clark weighing in. So first things first, would pay off parents' debts first, which is very altruistic. Jennifer, that is awesome. Go you. But then Jennifer would travel with the kids and see the world. How cool is that? Is that what y'all want to do? Let's travel.
That's dope.
Well, if I have $1 billion, we can all travel.
That's
like
right.
I'll take everybody.
Because I mean, you're taking my ass too, right?
Yeah.
Like, I raise my hand to be aboard that ship.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'll just get my private land yacht and we'll drive around.
I like that. I like the addition of the land yacht. What do you think? Are you ready to hang out in a land yacht, Cynthia?
Wherever. Hey.
He's like, I'm the Deutscher, but I'm just
which way is the wind blowing today?
If it's free, I'm in.
Not necessarily, but
yes.
We're all going. Jennifer wants to go too. And I have to tell you, like, we're all gonna go. Jennifer, you are in, baby.
I love she said school on the road. I love that.
Yeah. So school on the road. Let's do that. Let's all go to school on the road. All right, my friends, I'm going to go ahead and get
You can't go yet. You can't.
Oh, no.
You can't.
Oh, I
No.
can't.
You can't. There's two things that we have to talk about before we interview Crystal. The first, Lauren, you gave this beautiful introduction and failed to acknowledge that IHKC just celebrated their 5-year
That's true.
Anniversary.
I did forget to acknowledge that. Well, like things have been happening so fast. It's actually been
Mm-hmm.
super difficult for me to process everything that's
Mm-hmm.
like going, like everything is wonderful. And I'm just like, yeah, but can I take a day to just like figure it out? At any rate, yes. So Innovate Her KC, we just celebrated our 5-year anniversary. I mark our anniversary as August 25th, 2018. And I do so because that is the day that a humble little Facebook group that was simply intended to connect women within the entrepreneurial ecosystem called Startup Sheroes was born.
Mm-hmm.
And wildly, wonderfully, willfully, soon became sometimes beyond my scope, control, and dreams. Startup Sheroes became Innovate Her KC. And deeply, deeply proud. It has been an honor to serve you, Kansas. I'm talking to all you, Kansas City. But it has been an honor to serve and serve with some of the greatest women plus leaders our city has to offer.
Some of the world has to offer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the world, the whole wide world. We got the best ones right here.
Yeah. Yeah. 5 years is an incredible feat, and the work that you have been doing is phenomenal. I see you nodding your head and dropping it down because you know what's coming next.
I know.
You do.
I've been
I
dreading
love that people are acknowledging you for the work that you're doing in corralling all of these voices and stories and amplifying and helping to share these stories with the world. And it is so rightful that your acronym is a shout. Can you talk to us about what AAH stands for, Lauren?
Why are you screaming?
Right. What are we screaming about?
AAH. So in pre-prep, I was congratulated for a very, very deep and appreciated honor that I, Lauren Conaway, recently received. Every year, the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce selects an Athena Award winner and then a Young Athena Award winner. And it is, I can't remember all of the explanation, but named after the goddess Athena, it is intended to acknowledge and to honor individuals who show commitment to community and do all of these lovely things, but most importantly, open the doors for women along their professional path. And so AAH stands for Awkward Athena Winner because people have been congratulating me all week, and like I'm so honored and I'm so pleased and thrilled, but also just like super awkward about the whole thing. I'm like, thank you. Like people, it looks like people are like hitting me, and really what they're saying is congratulations. So like that is my leadership Everest and my whole person Everest, like figuring out how to just be like gracefully take a compliment. But yes, I am honored and thrilled. Thanks for bringing it up.
You know, I couldn't not do it.
Anytime.
I know. Well, and just really quick, and I do want to bow out. I want to have this very important, I want to hear this very important conversation that you're about to have, but I do just want to acknowledge something to the Innovate Her and to the Kansas City community at large. And you guys are going to yell at me, and I don't care. One of the things that I am very aware of, and one of the things that I want to communicate to everyone who's congratulating me for this honor, is that I didn't get here alone. You know, it's been a tough 5. Any entrepreneur knows that like the first 5 years are sometimes hell, and you know the next 5 years often are not much better. But this community has been responsible for some of the greatest moments of joy and privilege in my life. But again, it's not just me. Innovate Her KC was never about me. It shouldn't be about me. It should be about you, Cynthia, and you, Crystal, and every single one of the over 6,500 members that we serve. I am very honored to accept the Athena on behalf of this community. I do not create this community. I started it and I steward it, but You create it, you build it. I have very, very little to do with this amazing culture that we have built because it takes all of us. And so I want to be very, very clear. I am very honored at the award. Absolutely. But I do truly believe that it belongs to all of us. So.
Did that sound like her honorary speech to you, Crystal?
No, because I'm talking about something completely different.
I'm just kidding, Lauren.
You need a leader and an instigator.
I'll take that. I like that.
You're really good at both of those things.
Yes.
Thank you. See, I did it. Okay, I'm gonna go.
That's fantastic.
I'm sufficiently weird. I love you all. Catch you later.
Yay. Crystal.
Dun, dun, dun.
How do we like it? This one or this one?
I don't know. This one's, you can see, you see more of me, and so my face is smaller. So I like that.
That's the one then. That's the one. Thank you so much for joining us today, for sharing part of your evening with us today. August 30th is National Grief Awareness Day.
Happy National Grief Awareness Day.
Yeah, I know. It does not get enough recognition. I gotta say, it's a day for us to stop and recognize the time that it takes for people to heal from loss. And that time varies from situation to situation and person to person. And that's part of what we're going to chat about tonight.
I love it.
Does that go with you?
That sounds awesome.
Okay. So the Joy Sherpa and the Grief Sherpa are in conversation. Crystal, can you tell us a little bit about what you do, the work that you do?
Well, I think we do pretty similar things, only completely different. So I help grievers through the grieving process, and I help lovers love their griever through the grieving process. And that process is never ending.
Yeah.
It's not a, 3, 6, 9, 10, 12 months and you're done. Right. Check the box, move on.
Right. Yeah.
It can last a lifetime. And it's okay to last a lifetime. Absolutely. And it's okay to check the box at 3 months if that's what you choose to do and decide to do.
Yeah. So you get to help people through their grief journey. And you do that from a couple of different lenses, right? Can you talk to us a little bit about Sharing Solace and the work that you do with that organization?
So Sharing Solace is really, it is my passion project. It is my InnovateHER KC. In that we say we help grievers grieve and lovers love their griever. But we do that in two fashions. One, the actually talking and, the services side, but also we have tangible gifts that are intended to be kept near your heart as long as they bring you comfort, and then passed along to someone else when you feel you are ready to release the debilitating, all-consuming, acute grief as a way to find a way to become a better person and also share some of your strength for someone else.
Yeah. So you coach people through the process of understanding the difference between how their grief shows up. Would you say that?
Yeah. I kind of I'm there to just listen and say, I've been there and I've done that, and you're not crazy. And this is all normal, no matter what it is. And, you're not alone, really. Because people, when they lose something so earth-shattering and so much a part of them, they feel like they're going crazy. And they feel like they should be done in 3 months or 6 months or 9 months. And when they're not done, and everyone is telling them to move on and, why aren't you this? And you should be doing that.
Yeah.
They need someone to say, that's not how it really works.
Yep. So Crystal, I love that you are rewriting the narrative for people, which in turn will shape or reshape the community that surrounds all of us who are in contact with you and the work that you're doing, which is what's needed to move the needle. So you do that through sharing solace, but you also do that through your book, Confessions of a Griever. Can we talk about that book and where it came from?
Sure. So the book Confessions of a Griever is so the like elevator speeches. It's part my story, part tips and tricks, and part pick a path, because grief is not linear, and you should not feel like you need to move through it linearly. So at the end of every chapter of this book, you get to decide where you're going to go next. Are you going to move to the next page? Are you going to move 30 pages ahead? Are you going to move back to the beginning? But it's really just, it came from a place of having so many thoughts and feelings and not knowing what to do with them all.
Yeah.
And then being given the opportunity to put them in book form, and then being told that the book would come out on a very special date.
Yeah, I love that. Jennifer, you're absolutely right. No one can tell you how to navigate your own grief journey. It's definitely going to be unique to you and whatever that grief is that was tied to you, right? So you were talking about a very unique date. Crystal, can we talk about that for a little bit?
Sure.
Okay.
So Sharing Solace revolves around the date May 19th and anything 5/19. May 19th, 2010, my beautiful daughter, Madeline Elizabeth, was born. She lived for 8 hours, and then she died the next day in my arms. And obviously I was devastated.
Yeah.
You don't get over something like that as much as I've been told that I should, and I should move on. If you can love it and you can lose it, you can grieve it.
Yeah.
And you will grieve it potentially the rest of your life. And so Sharing Solace was actually launched on her 8th birthday as a birthday present to her.
I love that.
And then about a year later, I was approached by someone and said, hey, I think you might have, I've been reading your blog and this and that, and I think you have a book in you. Come with me and do this program and blah, 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 blah. And if we do it together on the time frame, it'll come out next May. And I was like, oh. Both like, I don't want to do this, and also now I have to do this.
Right.
Because you had told me multiple times, like, you might want to think about writing a book. And I was like, no, that's crazy. I don't write.
Yeah.
No. I don't have anything to say. Now, if you would have said, you need to do this and we will publish it in May, then I would have been like, oh, dang it. Okay.
So this is happening.
Yes.
No, but what a great way to honor Madeline's life.
Yeah.
Right? And her memory and her legacy. And not just, so it's one thing to honor an individual person, but to do so in the way that you have created is fantastic to me. It's phenomenal because of her life. So many others will receive healing, and that's a really powerful thing.
But I think that everyone that has lost someone or something finds a way to ingrain that loss in their life.
Absolutely.
And it touches every aspect of their community. I'm just a little bit more vocal about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're finding a new place for that love to land, right? Yeah. Yeah.
There's a quote that I love, And the first time I ever heard it was in a Macklemore song,
Mhm.
believe it or not. And I've never been able to figure out like who, like if he actually came up with it or if someone else did and he just borrowed it. But
Mhm.
the quote is, I've heard you die twice. Once is the first time that they bury you in the grave,
Mhm.
and the second time is the last time that someone mentions your name.
Wow. Yeah.
And that is just so powerful to me
Mhm.
because so many of us have no control over the first time that our person dies.
Yeah.
And we have complete control over the second time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can we touch on gosh, my brain is like split into like 4 different ways right now, so I'm trying to corral all my thoughts. But there's so many directions that we can go with this conversation. Um so much of our society, and the challenges that we have in telling people to move on, right? It's coming allegedly coming from a good place, right? You want them to be happy again, you want them to live again, but it's not necessarily helpful to the journey that they're on individually, right? What are some ways that we can support our loved ones or even ourselves as we are all navigating this grief journey? Some ways that would be more impactful, more effective.
I think, I mean, I could talk to you for days on this.
Mhm.
How long do we have?
Just keep going. It's fine.
First, never start a sentence with at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I if I hear that, I will punch you in the face.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, not sorry. I will punch you in the face if you say, "Well, at least your daughter was born alive." Yeah, well, at least now you have a black eye. Um, the platitudes and things are not helpful
Mhm.
for us.
Mhm.
Um, as someone that is in that acute grief right here, right now,
Right.
I know where they come from. And honestly, I'm now 13 years into my grieving journey.
Mhm.
So I have been able to find the meaning behind each of those platitudes.
Right.
But I don't want to hear you tell me that everything happens for a reason. Like, if I'm going to decide that, I need to decide it for myself.
Mhm.
Um, so I think the best thing you can do is just be there physically.
I
Say
love that.
something or nothing. Say
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Um, you know, if it's a loved, obviously I talk pretty regularly about the death of someone.
Yeah.
Say their name. You're not going to remind me that my Madeline is dead.
Mhm.
Like, I know that. Um, you know, early on, if someone would say it, I might cry, but it's not because you reminded me. It's
Right.
because those are fresh wounds.
Right.
And those tears were not just sad tears, they were happy tears that someone else remembered her.
Yeah.
And if you want to do something for that other person, I think the best thing that you can do, the best thing that I've found to do is don't just say, you know, let me know what I can do. Because I am in, like, my world is upside down.
Mhm.
I don't remember the last time I showered or ate. And now
Mhm.
you want me to come up with something, a to do list for you.
Right.
Um, say, you know, I'm coming over on Tuesday night at 5 o'clock with takeout and chick flicks. Okay.
Yep.
Or, you know, I bet you don't have very many clean clothes. I'm coming over to do your laundry.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to pick up some things at the grocery store and just drop them off on your front porch.
Yep.
Or I'm coming over and I'm going to pick you up and we're just going to go walk around Target.
I love that.
You know, come up with something to do
Mm-hmm.
and then give them the opportunity to say no.
Yeah.
You know,
And
and I'm not saying be forceful about it, but also don't let it be a cop out.
right. Absolutely. Yeah. There's something to be said about um what you're describing is a way to help people through their grief instead of putting all the onus and responsibility on them to let you know how they can help you,
Mhm.
right? And that's not helpful. That's that's probably one of the least helpful things that can happen. Jason, Lauren and I are having a battle back here. Do it, Lauren. Do it.
I want to fight. Uh-oh.
Jason said he couldn't agree more. Showing up is the most important thing we can do, and sometimes the only thing we can do. Yeah, and even showing up in silence, like you were talking about, Crystal, you're still showing up,
Yeah.
and it's still helpful. It's still helpful. Goodness
Sometimes I just
gracious.
say, hey, I'm ordering you Grubhub and it's going to be delivered in an hour. What do
Yeah,
you want?
yeah.
You know, you don't have to see me. You don't have to see anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I don't want you to have to try to feed and water yourself,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Scrubbing
I love that.
toilets and doing laundry are my least favorite things to offer to do.
But they're much needed,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay. So some of the avoidance of having conversations around grief may stem from an awkwardness of people not knowing what to do or what to say. And we've kind of talked about that a little bit. But some of it, specifically in the case of Madeline's death, might be related to the stigma that exists that is surrounding infant loss or um, whatever type of loss that parents may go through, right? Can we talk a little bit about that stigma that exists and the kind of impact that it has on the griever?
Yeah. I think really any kind of disenfranchised loss,
Mhm.
um, especially when it comes to the loss of a child. Well, not especially, and also that
Mhm.
is one instance of,
Yeah.
um, people don't see it. Um, like, honestly, I was the only, well, I wasn't, but the 10 people that got to meet Madeline are the
Mhm.
only people that really knew Madeline. And I knew her for 8.5 months
Mhm.
because she was growing,
Yeah.
but people just don't really understand. Well, you have no pictures, you have no nothing.
Mhm. Mhm.
How can you grieve something that didn't exist?
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, whatever it is, there's so many things that you can grieve that don't exist.
Yeah.
Dreams and hopes.
Yeah.
Um, just changes in general. And I think it's
Mhm.
hard for people. People want to fix and people want to do, and people need to see and touch.
Yep.
And when they can't, they don't know what to do. And
Mhm.
so they try to make themselves less uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And so that's when the platitudes come in and
Yeah.
uh,
Can you give an example of those platitudes? I have some that are just hanging out in my brain, but for oh, here we go. We're
would be
going
like,
to what page is it on?
let me see.
I love
I
this.
mean, like God doesn't give you more than you can handle, and everything
Yeah.
happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And um, you know, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger, and
Mhm.
all of those kind of things that you find on a greeting card.
Right.
Um, And in a lot of ways, yes. Madeline didn't kill me, so I must be stronger. And also, I don't want you to tell me that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to hear it as I'm burying my child,
Mm-hmm.
that you're stronger because she's dead.
Right. Right.
I'd rather be kind of weak and have her crying in the background, you know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
say that a lot, you know, my Madeline and the journey of learning to live with her and without her has made me a better, stronger, more human, more compassionate human being.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if it were my choice, I would be a worse, less compassionate, you know, terrible person
Yeah.
if I had to pick between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's not, you know, we don't choose to get stronger. We have no choice.
Right. It often comes when we're placed in situations of adversity. And I love so much that you talk about grief, not only as it relates to death, but also as it relates to all of these other things. Because we don't talk about the grief that exists when there's job loss or a relationship change or a dream that you were pursuing might not have turned out the way that you had made up in your mind, right? The expectations that you'd created, but all of that is still very real.
Oh, yeah.
And that loss is still very powerful. So even some of the suggestions that you've given us thus far, it relates to grief of all kinds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that. I have several friends that, you know, are going through transition right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, hey, I'm ordering pizza. What do you want? What do you want
Yeah.
on it? It's on its
Yeah.
way. You know, because there's nothing you can say. You can't make it better. You
Mm-mm.
cannot make it better.
Nope.
You can make it worse, but you can't make it better.
You can definitely make it worse. You can definitely make it worse. Yeah.
But
But you
just being present,
Mhm.
whether that's physically and emotionally or mentally, however that is,
Yeah.
just knowing that the other person knowing that they're not alone in this fight,
Yeah.
I think is helpful.
Yeah.
And we all fight on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's helpful and it's much needed, and you never know what kind of impact that's gonna have for someone.
Yeah.
So push aside all of your awkward feelings and just show up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crystal, is there anything else that you want to chat about this evening? Anything coming up
Have
that
we
you
not
wanna
covered
announce?
enough?
I know we talked about a lot. We've covered a lot of ground.
Well, if anyone wants to get in my land yacht with me, which is
Yeah.
yes, I'm driving to Vegas in a couple weeks, so come
There we
on,
go.
let's
Come
go.
on. Just pull up and blow the horn so that people
Yeah.
can join. Crystal, how can we support the work that you're doing with Sharing Solace, or even with your book?
Come on over to sharingsolace.com.
Mhm.
Check out all the fun things we have going on over there. Find me at an InnovateHER KC event.
Mhm.
I am there as often as I can be.
Yeah.
Isn't every time, but I try. I try so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much anywhere you think you can find someone, you can find Sharing Solace.
Awesome. I love that so much. Thank you again for joining us for this evening. This has been powerful, and again love so much that you've given us all things to think about that will be helpful not only for us but for the grievers in our lives. So
I hope so.
thank you again so much for that. I think we're going to bring Lauren in.
Ah!
She's on mute. Hold on. Can we fix it? Unmute it.
Yeah, we can fix it. By the way, there has been a maelstrom of technical difficulties that I've been trying to manage back here. Did you sense it? Did you sense my stress?
Yeah, I did.
So at any rate, apologies for any of you who were affected. That was not our intention at the beginning of the evening, but it's what happened. But hey, really quickly before I shake you loose, Crystal, I want to take a moment to just honor what you did for us here. I think that, when Cynthia and I talked about having this conversation, we decided it's very important, but we also wanted to acknowledge the fact that we just asked you to do some pretty hefty emotional labor.
Absolutely.
And you did it so beautifully, but I just want to thank you for being so vulnerable, so authentic with your story. I know that it's what you do, but the fact that you were able to do it for us, I'm just very grateful. I know that can't have been easy, and it can't be easy to kind of live in your trauma as you do. But that being said, you have been able to turn your own personal heartbreak into hope and help for so many people. And I just wanted to take a moment and tell you how much I admire that you're able to do that, how much InnovateHER stands behind you. And just how much we appreciate the fact that you were willing to do this heavy lift with us this evening. Thank you.
Well, honestly, thank you for allowing me to say my Madeline's name.
Yeah, anytime.
That's all
And honestly,
do.
I'm always going to remember her middle name because we share a middle name, so I feel like we have a cosmic connection. But
yes, we do.
Hearing her story, it was very, very powerful, very welcome, very respected, and very appreciated coming from you. Thank you for sharing her story and your journey.
Well,
Absolutely.
Thank you for letting me share her story.
So folks, I'm gonna shuffle Cynthia and Crystal loose. We're gonna do a little bit of housekeeping. No, Cynthia's doing it. But thank you, Cynthia. But at any rate, thank you so much for having this discussion with us. One of the things that we like to do around IHKC Live is talk about these hard topics. It's important to shine a light on these issues and actually call the thing's name, because if we can't address it, if we can't talk about it, we can't fix it. We can't move forward together from a place of shared understanding. So that's why we do this. And we are just very grateful to Crystal for her work with sharing solace, for her storytelling ability. Thank you for going on the journey with us, sticking it out with us, and sharing your thoughts. We are very grateful. So as far as housekeeping, we do have some upcoming IHKC events that I am going to sort of competently tell you about. Hopefully, cross your fingers for me. Coming up on September 5th, we have our monthly meetup. We're going to be at the Black Co, and it's an evening. It's a Nourish Her event. So take a look on our social channels. But we're going to ask our members to bring things that make them happy. BMG Advisors is sponsoring, so they're going to be there to talk to people about financial wellness. But we're going to have a lot of fun coloring and playing board games and crocheting and doing yoga. All of those things that drive that personal spark. And we hope that you can join us for our Nourish Her monthly meetup on September 5th. So then we've got, hold on, let me see if I can do this. On September 13th, very, very excited. This is a kind of a one-time deal. We're going to be doing our Keystone session for the month of September, as well as an IHKC Live, which is what you're watching right now. We're going to do them at the same time, and we're going to be talking to Kiana of Copper Key Studios and talking about her work with the 40 over 40 project that she has led and is producing. We're going to talk about self-image and how we can honor who we are by being in the damn picture, taking the picture, celebrating our physicality, all of those really complicated things that women plus individuals tend to have difficulty with. So keep an eye out for the Liberated Lens. Again, that's going to be on September 13th. And we will be at Keystone Collabs as well as here on IHKC Live. Then we have Our next, we don't actually have, Innovators Hike. That's going to be on the 28th. We're working with IHKC KC. Lisa Pena, one of our members, is going to be helping us through a wine and cheese urban hike. And if it's too hot, we're going to find ways to be inside often, like a lot of the time, because, oh my gosh, thank goodness. So keep an eye out for those things. You can find our events on our public Facebook page, on our public LinkedIn page. Follow us there, keep track. We post about our events and they're under the events tab. You can also find and subscribe to our calendar on InnovateHERKC.com. Go to the calendar page. You can subscribe, keep updated on all of our events. Friends, we are so grateful to have these conversations with you every other week, and we can't wait to catch you next time.